Do you live in a world filled with corporate data? Are you plagued by siloed departments? Are your lackluster growth strategies demolishing your chances for success? Are you held captive by the evil menace, Lord Lack? Lack of time, lack of strategy, and lack of the most important and powerful tool in your superhero tool belt, knowledge. Never fear, HubHeroes. Get ready to don your cape and mask, move into action, and become the Hub Hero your organization needs. Tune in each week to join the League of Extraordinary Inbound Heroes as we help you educate, empower, and execute. HubHeroes, it's time to unite and activate your powers.
You know, at some point in time,
guy stinks!
Oh my goodness. You know, at some point in time, we're going to have to do a Lord Lack episode. Because for a couple of years now, we've heard about Lord Lack and all the shenanigans that he's pulling. I think we could have fun with that. But that, of course, is not today. But at some point, we need a Lord Lack episode where the villain shows up.
Your lack of faith is disturbing.
I love that idea, but I got to be honest, guys. We have a packed episode.
Yeah.
So we got to wrap up the chit chat and get to the good.
In other words, Liz is like, shut up. Let's make content.
Look, you all see our outline. We are all looking at the same document. We have some business to attend to today.
Just a little bit.
Business I am particularly thrilled about. We teased this a bit last week by saying this is an episode where you need to listen to George B. Thomas's best advice, which is grab a snack and a backpack, but also
Snack pack.
a snack pack, pen, paper, Evernote, whatever else you need, because today we are each going to be talking about new HubSpot features that we are the most excited about. And George, I know you're particularly hyped for this episode because when people started filling their stuff in, you were going, ooh.
Yeah.
Anything you want to share with the class before we dig in?
Well, just I like how humans' brains work and how different the things that we all kind of picked to talk about, but also how if you're listening to this podcast and if you pay attention to the different things and combine them together, like you're getting some ultimate like superpowers out of this episode. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
Me too. Well, here's how it's going to work, everybody. We each have 2 new features that we are excited about today, and we are going to go person by person, but we're only going to share one at a time. We're not doing both all at once. Sound good?
Sounds good. Rules are good.
Fabulous.
Rules are good.
Max, let's start with you. What you got for us, bud?
Me first?
Yeah.
Well, should I start with the big one or the smaller one? We'll do the big one. The data model builders here, everybody. First of all. So if you're somebody, actually, let me back this up. The data modeler basically is a tool in HubSpot that you can use where in a single pane of glass, you can manage your custom objects, create your custom objects, see how your custom objects, or I mean, any of your objects, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And their
see how they're all associated to each other, manage all the associations. You can even create properties. Woo-hoo! You can even manage your properties all in one like single interface, right? You can even like export pictures of your data model if you need to like share it in a meeting or explain it to somebody, right? And the reason I'm so stoked about this is because I cannot tell you the amount of pain I feel in my brain when I know I have to walk through the, 5 or 6 clicks it takes just to get to like creating a new property, right? Which is like really boring. And it's not so much the clicks. It's like navigating and wading through all the page loads and like getting to the right spot, right?
Yeah,
like
the settings and sometimes you could go to the objects and sometimes you go to the properties because reasons.
Sure, exactly, right. And it's just like even it's like navigating to where associations live and having to like click things in the menu and then go through the navigate like the tab navigation and then click the drop down and then and it's just like it's a nightmare, right? So like I'm super stoked for this. I mean, it's especially great for anyone who's like stepping into a new HubSpot portal and needs to be able to like visually see everything an object is connected to and what the top 10 most, used properties are and like all these different things. It's a great way, I think, to get like familiar with a portal, but it's just a better, like more tangible visual way of like managing how everything is like set up and understanding the relationship. So W data model builder, I'm stoked for it.
Wow.
I love that.
Yeah. It's a good one.
It's a very good one.
It's a good one. You should pay attention to new or existing portals, by the way. I'll throw that in there. Like, it's just a good place to go.
Is it gated by anything?
I don't think it's gated by anything. No. I think it's all tiers, all hubs, I think, if I remember correctly.
Makes sense.
We were going to get those integrator managed custom objects with those, custom objects that come with. Yeah, well, I heard words about that once.
Moving on.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that was a sore spot.
Who's ready to get nerdier?
All right, here, wait. I'll tell you all about them. So here's the basics, right?
This is good
Cardboard
stuff.
box.
Oh, that's good. I can't wait.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. I wish everybody else could hear that, but we had to censor it in editing.
Yeah.
Only us beautiful souls are able to hear it. Chad, take us further down the nerd well.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't really like that new of a feature. It's been around for a hot minute, but I have really fallen in love with the functionality and ability to use custom coded actions to make people's lives easier inside of HubSpot. And between custom coded actions and the ability to add a card on the right-hand sidebar of any object that will enroll the object you're looking at in a workflow, which could or could not include a custom object, it really allows you to, like, where before you used to have to like add things like, oh, I'll flip a property and that will trigger the workflow, right? Or whatever. And then people like, oh, did it enroll? I don't know, and like, so between like being able to do things that like measurably improve people's lives and user experience working inside a HubSpot, as well as like making it easier for them, like with the custom coded actions, and making it easier for them to use those workflows that you're able to build for them with the right-hand sidebar card with one or more workflows in that, is really, really, really helpful. It's super awesome to be able to just give your team what they need right where they need it, and so that they can easily use it. It'd be awesome to have those like inside of a playbook now, for example. That'd be pretty slick, right? Or like if you click it, it asks you to fill in a couple properties first or something, right? But even regardless, it's still super helpful, super helpful to have that. And if you're like, if you never messed with custom coded actions before, like I'd encourage, everyone to go even just try and work with your AI assistant of choice and just say, I just get an idea, a bug in a rug that you'd like to build out, right? Maybe you want to, have some sort of thing where, it adds a line item to the deal you're on by clicking a button. That could be a real simple custom coded action to start with, or whatever it might be, right? Just work with your AI assistant of choice, and if you have an enterprise portal, duplicate your portal into a sandbox so you're not going to be jacking up any customer data with your API keys. And I think that'd be like, it'll, say like, hey, do the old Michael Scott, talk to me like I'm 5, and like have it really walk you through all the steps, because it's a level up and a power up to be able to learn how to do that.
Yeah. So good. So good. The nerdy side, the deep nerdy side.
I love the deep nerdy side. George.
Deep nerd.
What about you? What are you excited about?
Yeah, listen. So I've been on this kick lately because I've been doing like the customer platform podcast / show with Casey Hawkins and Chris Carolyn for, I don't know, maybe a couple months at this point, where every weekday we meet, we talk about the latest and greatest. And I've been on this kick of talking about how HubSpot is quickly building a system where I can shrink my tech stack. And what I mean by that is
Yeah.
like, is there going to be a day where I don't need Fathom and Avoma because all my calls are coming into HubSpot? By the way, that's not the feature I'm going to talk about. I pay for another piece of the tech stack called Opus Clips. And with HubSpot's latest release of something that I'm going to mention right here, I had to start to ask myself, do I need to pay for that anymore? Or can I just handle it inside of HubSpot? What I'm referring to, and if you have not checked this out, or you're sleeping on it, by all that is holy, when you're done listening to this, go over to the HubSpot product updates page and search for AI-powered video marketing platform. Ladies and gentlemen, video marketing platform. The title also goes on to say easy and fast video marketing. There's the what is it? There's why it matters. There's even a video walkthrough where Ankur takes you through it. I will also say you could go to LinkedIn, maybe even YouTube, and you could search for this because Chris Carolyn and Ankur and Amanda, I think it was, did an unboxing of this. But what I want you to understand is you can go into your file manager. By the way, the only grievance I have with this, and it is in a beta, so I understand, but I wish there was in the content navigation something that said video platform, to which when I clicked it, at least took me to my file manager with like videos just filtered by videos. But if you go now into your file manager and you click on any of your videos, you're going to see that there's an optimize tab, which allows you to now add a video title. It allows you to add keywords. By the way, there's also being able to generate keywords via AI. There's also SEO description, which you can generate with AI. So now there was an update that we talked about earlier this morning or late last week, where SEO metadata is going to be automatically added to pages that you create with the CMS website or landing pages. And so how is it automatically going to be there? Because you now will have these tools to be able to actually give it the information. Here's what's crazy, though. You can actually edit a thumbnail. So you can change the frame, crop and resize, edit with Adobe Express, replace or upload the thumbnail. But they even have this thing where you can turn on chapters. Okay. I want you to listen to this for a second. You can turn on chapters. So now your HubSpot videos can have chapters in them. And also, here's the other thing, because you might be adding chapters, because there's also a publish to social button, which means you can also publish it to YouTube. So you've got a platform in HubSpot where you can add chapters and then publish to YouTube. Also, you can publish to Facebook and LinkedIn, all your social. So in other words, you can now take your videos and you can publish them to social. But here's the thing, you can clone and edit them, which means then you can also make different versions of them or remix them into content. And when you're remixing them, by the way, you can take a 19 whatever and flip it to a 16 by 9 to a 9 by 16. In other words, you can now make vertical clips out of horizontal videos. And what's crazy is they even have in that part of it where you can see it's an editor. It's an editor. Like, think of like a Descript where you can like remove pieces, you can show pauses. You can have like, it's the captions area. You can turn on closed captions. If you turn on closed captions, now you have default styles. You can create a custom style. You can put it at the bottom or the top. You've got where you can add your branding, which now all of a sudden you can throw your logo on the bottom right or the top center. And you've even got an area where you can like kind of build this out as a template so that you can then use it as you move forward. So like, to say that there's an video editor in your HubSpot portal that then again, once you get done, you can just go ahead and mix these clips, which by the way, if I go back just to the video details, I was on Optimize right now. There's performance, which means you can track the performance of any of these videos that you've actually put through this process. So once you publish them to social, now you can come back to the video in your file manager of HubSpot and see like how it had been engaged with. There's also like a details area. And then if you created any clips, you're going to be able to see the clip. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just saying, do not sleep on this. Like it is, if you have Content Hub, actually, let me go back to the product update because it is for a professional customer platform, enterprise customer platform, Content Pro, Content Enterprise, Marketing Pro, Marketing Enterprise, Service Pro, Service Enterprise. You have this AI-powered video marketing platform. You need to check it out. because by the way, it's just the beginning and it already gets my applause. I'm just saying.
Here's my question. How cool does video need to get in HubSpot for them to put it in the nav?
Well,
just
so
in
here's
time
the
for
thing.
them to change the nav again.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
It is a beta, right? So you have to sign up for the beta. So I can understand, like, one of the things might be that because they're limiting the amount of people who are using the beta, that maybe it's not quite yet in the nav. But I feel like, and this is why I'm talking about it, I want adoption to be so great that the team sits back and goes, okay, we need to double down on this and add a bunch of features. And then I look forward to the world where the AI-powered video marketing platform and the podcast tool merge. And it could be video podcasts that you could be clipping and also then doing audio. And like, there's just a whole real interesting, rich media content system that could be in our very near future, past what either of these tools are, separated at this point. What's yours, Liz? Yeah.
Okay. So I think we've all learned by now over the years that I don't fall down the super nerdy deep well of HubSpot. But I'd also like to think that means I am an ambassador or an avatar, so to speak, for those marketers who are just trying to do the job, just trying to have like, can HubSpot be HubSpot? And then we just have Chads and Maxes and Georges who like talk about data model builders and things like that, because everything you guys have discussed.
For the listeners, she's visibly got the heebie-jeebies and the antsy pantsies.
I do, because I listened to all of the very smart things you guys have been saying for the past 15, 20 minutes. And I'm like, yes, I know some of these words, right? And this brings me to a tiny, tiny update that made me incredibly happy. Now, as you know, HubSpot often experiments with the UI of building their most basic things. For example, landing pages, or in the case of what I'm about to talk about, workflows. Now, workflows back in the day used to be super simple, right? Now, granted, simple to the point if you could cause mass destruction because you don't know what you're building. Whoopsie. But it used to be you could just go in, pick a little action, and get to work. And then a while back, they rolled out a workflow experience that even for me, and it's weird, right? Like, I'm not the deep down the well nerd like you guys. And I say nerd with love. It is an affectionate term.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And I understand things like contacts, deals, conversations, quotes, and things like that. But they made it so you had to, using their language, make decisions before you could do anything else. You could no longer just kind of dive in, right? You had to pick, is it contact-based? Is it company-based? Is it deal-based? Is it ticket-based? And it's like, that's not how I'm natively thinking as a user. That's forcing me into a more technical, object-based mindset rather than the more human, intuitive way of doing it. So a while ago, they rolled out a beta where it seems they were kind of like, hey, our bad. We're going to take some of this back a little bit. And you now don't have to do some of that weird, like, what is it, company or is it deal? Which on its face, to I think a lot of people who are more familiar with the technical side of it, that is a very easy choice. But if you're building a sales workflow or a marketing workflow, you may not be sure which property you're supposed to be leaning into. And that can create a lot of problems. So instead, you're allowed to go back into the workflow builder where you can browse possible workflow triggers instead of having to natively understand what it is that you already want. So they didn't take it back where it's just like, it's a free for all, guys. You could just do looping workflows forever and have no idea why anything does what it does. But instead, I felt like they brought it back to a much more intuitive place where you don't have to have all the answers perfectly in your head, right? Yeah. But you have the ability to browse what is possible without knowing which door to open.
Yeah. There are people who totally agree with you, Liz. And then if you go to LinkedIn, there are people who, if I could sum up their post on LinkedIn about this feature, I would sum it up as that's what they're saying. Like they are
I get
not happy.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
But like, look, first of all, anytime HubSpot rolls out a change of any kind,
Right.
we're going to get some LinkedIn broetry about the 5 ways I learned my life is a miserable hellscape because of HubSpot, right? Here's what I'm going to say to this. You have to remember the people who are actually doing the tactical day-to-day execution of workflows probably are pretty happy. Like they had that choose your own adventure, pick, is it a company, is it a deal? And they had that for a really long time. And no matter, again, not a nerd, but I'm a smart marketer. And even that, I still had to do way too much thinking just to get to the workflow building stage.
Yeah.
And I did not love that.
Here's the other thing. They can hit the skip button and just pick the object. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
What a lot of people don't know is like if you just scroll down at the bottom, it says skip and like pick object or something. Yeah. And then it's the old experience, right? Yeah. The difference is if you picked the wrong object, you no longer have to hit back and delete the workflow and then create another one and then select the object, right? So it's a little more forgiving. But guys, just hit skip. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah.
Now here's the other
Take
thing
a deep
too
breath.
for the people who were the negative Nancy's about this.
Yeah.
This was in beta for months, and they gathered from a few thousand people who participated feedback. This isn't just a bunch of HubSpotters twirling little orange sprockets on their fingers, wondering how they can make your life more miserable. They listened to the community. And that's why I'm going to echo something Georgia said many, many times, but some of you don't listen. You wait for product updates to roll out when you were given the option to participate in the beta and you did not opt in. So
I feel like I say it in a nice way, though.
I will say I hit skip every time because my brain doesn't work that way. Like when my brain goes, I want because like I have a intensely clear understanding of like how a workflow works. Like an object falls through a path of things that happen to it. That's like how it is. So it's like in my brain, I always go, I would like to enroll object when something and then trigger, right? So in my brain, it's always like object first, trigger second versus trigger first, object second. For some reason, shuts my brain off. Well, like I can't, like when I look at the list and I'm like,
and here's what I think it's solving.
I haven't chosen my object yet.
Well, here's
what
I think it's solving for is you've got to realize that there's so many users out there that don't know the plethora of actions that they have at their fingertips. And so if you don't make them choose an object, then they can see, oh, wait, there's a thing that works with ClickUp, or there's a thing that works with, with this object? Oh, so it needs to be that object. Okay. And so
people aren't exploring all of they don't just like, for me, I just in a new portal just to see sometimes what's connected. I'll just go create a blank workflow for every object type to see what kind of stuff they have integrated that has actions that I can leverage. So I can store that in the back of the old brain wallet for later use. Right.
Not everybody does that for their brain wallet.
No, nobody. Like, I mean, I can't imagine anybody wanting to like, unless they're just like really want to know the things for the sake of knowing the things, right? Yeah. Max, and workflow, man.
The other thing too is like people are still just so hung up on contact workflows. It's kind of like the de facto workflow that like they don't even like think to do stuff with the other objects, right? Yeah. Like, and which I can't even believe we're still there, right? Yeah, hopefully this will get people to like kind of understand the power of workflows first versus like never seeing something that they can do just because they're so stuck in their ways of using particular objects all the time.
Exactly. Like for me, when I looked at that change, the thing that it really said to me is that instead of showing up feeling like there's a barrier to knowledge that I can't get over, I now have the capacity to use the tool in a more intuitive way while also having more of a gateway to explore what is possible with this tool, because Max, you make an incredible point there. I think some people will still think like, oh, it's contact workflows. What other object, right? Like I think that is a lot of the ways that people process these things. They have a very one-dimensional viewpoint of what automation can do. Max, let's stay with you.
Oh,
what's your next one, Bobby?
So my next one, tangentially related to the first one, right? And that was, I kind of kvetched and complained a little bit about having to go all sorts of places to update a property, right? But that was more illustrating you have to go through all sorts of places to update anything about an object or a data schema or like whatever, right? But the move that I hate the most, or like the oops, I did it again thing that I hate the most, is when you're looking at an index page and you're like, oh man, I really need a property. Then so you have to do the whole navigate away, song and dance.
You do the whole song and dance, yeah.
Spend at least 30 seconds getting to the place where you create a new property, and then you go and save it, and then you get back to your index page and you go edit your columns and you bring that property on there, and you're like, oh shit, I need another one. and you go, oh, I gotta go do that again, right? And like it's the worst. Like it's like, man, I should have just hit save and create another, but no, I came back here and I looked at it and I realized I needed more data, and you do that whole thing. So now you are able to literally like add a column on an index page and create a property without leaving the index page, right? So like it brings up little right sidebar panel slide out menu. You can create your property, right? And you're done. You're not navigating away through other menus. You're not wishing you did it twice when you were there. You literally can just do it right from the index page, which is like an enormous quality of life increase for anyone setting up their data structures, but like to do it through the context of, all right, I'm creating a bunch of views. Here's the information that we want. It's very akin to like the sort of experience you have when you're using like an Airtable or a Notion and you're building a database and you're like, oh, I should have a property for their favorite ice cream flavor, whatever. And you can just do it right there instead of having to go through this journey of interfaces to go like do it and then come right back to it. Right. So I really kind of like how, it's you know what it's almost like they're putting the spreadsheet back into the index page a little bit, right? Like we all got away from the spreadsheet, got into the CRM, but like in a spreadsheet, you can add a column and that's not a problem. In HubSpot, that was, it was a whole, thing to get there. Right. Yeah. And just so everyone knows, like this comes from, they started doing this with company records because of like the enrichment stuff and smart properties and things like that. Right. Where you could basically create a property kind of like you could do on a clay table. Right. That would like pull in information that it's scraped from the internet or whatever and populate it. Right. But now they took that experience and they applied it to, general property creation, and they put it across everything, and life's going to be way easier now. Yeah.
And if you're wondering right now, two things. One, does Max get paid by every company he mentions on the podcast? No,
just the one that I wear the hat for.
Yeah. The one he wears the hat for, which makes him very happily that he works there. But also, Max, the second question they might have is, because you brought up ice cream and I can't move forward until I ask this question. What is your favorite ice cream, Max?
Dude. How much time do we have? I'll be honest. I'm a sucker for a salted caramel anything.
Oh yeah.
Lately, like salted caramel is just crazy.
Girly.
Oh wait, no. Hold on, I'm lying. Yes, I like that. I'm gonna just say this, and I think I've said this out loud on the podcast before, but in case I haven't, until you've taken vanilla ice cream and mixed in a giant scoop of like Jiffy peanut butter, you haven't lived.
Oh. I haven't lived.
Mix vanilla ice cream with peanut butter.
So not Skippy. It's got to be Jiffy.
It could be a Skippy. It can even be a Teddy.
Cosign. Okay? It's super good.
Cosign. Yeah. Just get your bowl of vanilla ice cream. Take a scoop of peanut butter. Mix that shit in there. You will get like wrist pain from doing it. But man. Yeah, you won't ever have better ice cream in your whole life.
Peanut butter gets cold and like just impossible to move.
All right, guys, I love you all.
Inflexible.
I love you all.
I
love you all. God,
she's like, shut up. Let's create content.
Chad.
Big summer blowout.
Ice cream mixed with peanut butter.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's so good, dude. All right.
Yeah.
So I felt like I had some sort of response to Max. We got derailed by peanut butter. Thanks, peanut butter, for being wonderful. All right. So my next one is just data sets in general are absolutely phenomenal. And the new addition of being able to add your own external data source via a CSV to be able to create complex calculations, including external data for your reporting purposes, is phenomenal. And I'm excited for the next logical iteration, which I have no concrete information, but some hunches that could be coming out, which would be the ability to like connect to maybe a Google Sheet that's able to be, updated every 15 minutes, like a data store is, like the HubSpot reporting data stores, like on a 15-minute cycle or something, right? So that sheet is updated however you update that sheet, whoever's using that sheet, and then you can refresh that data store. I would imagine is the next logical iteration for that to go. So you don't have to like manually massage a CSV and upload it, or export your sheet and put it into a CSV and upload it. Because being able to create those calculations at the data set level really unlock reporting that was never possible before in the first place in HubSpot. And with the external data, it allows you to they're starting to go down more the, Tableau level report, because you have multiple external data points that you'll be able to report on. And so this is putting the toe in the water of being able to have HubSpot truly even be the reporting centric, location for all of your data management and reporting. Very cool. So that's not out yet. I don't have any like special secret things from anybody saying that it will be out. It's I heard rumblings from some people. But I have no concrete anything.
Yeah, I like that. I like it'll be interesting.
Yes, happens. if it does come to pass and it does stay on the roadmap and it does get released, that will be phenomenal.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. So my next one doesn't tie to anything that I said before, because my next one is the prospecting agent. The prospecting agent is super dope. And I'll tell you why I think it's dope. One, right now I'm running the semi-autonomous, meaning it'll like create the prospects. It'll load it up with 3 emails ready for me to review. I can edit my selling profiles, ladies and gentlemen, which means you can not have to use this as a sledgehammer, but you can use it as a scalpel. So imagine like certain forms, I want to have this type of like prospect, and these other forms, it might be this prospect. And especially if you're using something like multiple brands or multiple domains inside of a HubSpot portal, this gets real interesting. So like for us, we might have Paul the prospector for Psychic Strategies, but then we might have somebody completely different for anybody coming to georgebthomas.com. And so just the understanding of having those selling profiles, having the ability to add exclusions of like what you don't want. But then here's what I'll say is really fun too, is as I go through some of these emails that it's creating, which by the way, when I say emails, I literally mean templates, which also I mean it's creating 3, which also I mean it's going to a sequence. And also I then need to say, by the way, did you know Sequences now has updated data of what it's actually reporting on? Because that whole change too, by the way, if you didn't know, go to your product updates, search for Sequences and analytics, and you'll see that there's new reporting to that. So it all falls in line where it's like these templates in this sequence, and it's this 3-part series. But here's what's fun is even if I decide I don't want to prospect to that person, the emails are like, I'm finding them to be uber valuable. For instance, I looked at one because a HubSpot employee had emailed me about something totally not related to anything that I could ever sell them. But it was inside that email that I was looking through the 3 emails, and all of a sudden I realized that they had acquired a company that I didn't know they had acquired. To which then I went and checked out that company to understand where in the heck HubSpot might be going with some of their new AI stuff. So like it's bringing relevant information to you, even if you're not going to prospect based on the conversations that you're having in your CRM. If anybody's watching this episode, these freaking jerkies.
Is everything okay, George? What's up?
Everything's fine. What I want everybody to realize is how well I continue to talk about my update.
That was
with all
impressive.
of the shenanigans that were happening inside of this.
If we
video
shenan
screen.
once, we will shenan again, George. Never forget that.
Oh my gosh, it's like making a podcast with my kids or something for a hot minute here.
You
my
showed
goodness. I did. So that's mine. Prospecting agent is my second one. Liz, what about you?
Well, I'm the last one to go, and it's not exciting to a lot of people, but it's exciting to me. I didn't realize this wasn't already possible. I had a moment of, are you serious?
Yeah.
To then just absolute joy, particularly given if you listen to last week's episode where we talked extensively about the HubSpot Service Hub knowledge base.
Mm-hmm.
You can now add knowledge-based articles and feedback surveys to your campaigns, which is a huge deal. That is a huge deal. It took a long time, many, many years, to get people to realize marketing and sales were on the same side, chasing the same goal. But they kind of kept that other third of the flywheel still on its own little island. That service aspect, that piece of the puzzle owned by service teams once somebody is already signed on the dotted line. So I love this idea that campaigns can be thought of more holistically around the entire journey or experience your customer will ever have with you. And I love that. And I also wonder, what kind of new campaigns will this make possible, right? Like, that's why I looked at this. I'm like, maybe it's a tiny thing. I'm like, no, because this now means I can have service-based campaigns.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Being able to support your team. Yeah.
Well, and I think there's a couple things here, right? I think you can start to have standalone service campaigns. You can have standalone sales campaigns. You can have standalone marketing campaigns, or you can literally strategize around some directions in your business and be like, oh, wait, you mean we can now use campaigns to have a 360-degree view of reporting based on like a direction that we're headed as an organization? And we can go into that campaign and see how revenue dollars and budget associate to it as well. Okay, sign me up. Like,
Max, you're on mute, sweetheart.
Just saying.
I was going to say, it's also a hell of a way to manage product releases, like new releases for something, right? Because think about it. Because can't you also associate behavior event or custom act or custom events?
Is what they call them.
You can associate custom events to campaigns, right? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Ready? So you're a SaaS company. Your product has a new feature, right? Go create a custom event that says when a user has used that new feature, right? Associate that to the campaign. Take the knowledge-based article you wrote on how that feature works, associate it to the campaign. Take the blog post that is housing the, release notes or like explanation of the new feature, associate it to the campaign. Go give, take a look at the people who have like completed the use of that new feature, right? By that custom event, send them a specific survey, ask them how they think of that feature, right? And then tie those surveys back to the campaign, right? Like it's honestly incredible what you can do with it now, right? And yeah, I mean, now we just gotta let you associate any object you want to the campaigns tool at this point. But I have a theory they won't, because then it's just gonna be just like the Salesforce campaigns tool and won't add a lot more value like it already does. But that's a conversation for a different day.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, we have come to the end of our journey. I'm also going to say, nobody in the audience will know this. We got through all of that, including derailings about ice cream.
Yeah.
Crazy.
With a minute to spare. George?
The fact that you called ice cream a derailing saddens me, but okay.
Look, somebody's got to keep you kids in line. Now, do I also now want a giant bowl of pistachio ice cream? 1,000%. But that is my problem, not your problem. George, take us home. What's one thing you want folks to keep in mind from today?
From today, I would want you to figure out if you even know what your favorite tool is. Also, I would want you to be like, wow, what did I learn new today? And what could I learn if I actually went over to the product updates on a daily or weekly basis and took 15 to 30 minutes to dive in on all the new stuff that HubSpot is building? Because if you actively engage, you find that you're not always so overwhelmed.
Also, watch the Monday Morning Briefing with me and Kyle every Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, Hub Heroes, we've reached the end of another episode. Will Lord Lack continue to loom over the community, or will we be able to defeat him in the next episode of the Hub Heroes Podcast? Make sure you tune in and find out in the next episode. Make sure you head over to thehubheroes.com to get the latest episodes and become part of the League of Heroes. FYI, if you're part of the League of Heroes, you'll get the show notes right in your inbox, and they come with some hidden power-up potential as well. Make sure you share this podcast with a friend, leave a review if you like what you're listening to, and use the hashtag HubHeroes Podcast on any of the socials and let us know what strategy conversation you'd like to listen into next. Until next time, when we meet and combine our forces, remember to be a happy, helpful, humble human, and of course, always be looking for a way to be someone's hero.